Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel Say What's Real TV. This review is for Tyler Perry's Zatima Season 2 Episode 4, Temperature Rising, now streaming over on BET+. So we open up the episode with Zach already on 100 coming from his office dealing with Bryce, now seeing Fatima in the arms of Paul, and he's like, what the F is going on up in here? Fatima automatically, babe, wait a minute, she's trying to explain like it's not what you think. We've been here, we've been stuck on the elevator. Zach is like, yeah, you've been stuck, all right. Like, why were you getting up off your knees? Like, Zach, stop it. She was not on her knees. You're reaching, stop. So she was like, no, I'm telling you, babe, she's trying to explain. He's hotter than fish grease. He's like, I told you about this light-eyed mofo. And she's like, just listen to me. Listen to what I'm telling you. He was like, I heard you. She said, well, what did I say? He said, don't matter what you said. She said, look, I'm trying to tell you nothing happened. Zach says he knows what he saw. Fatima said, forget what you saw, is what I say. So Zach said, you want me to ignore what I saw because of what you said? Fatima says, yes. Zach says, it doesn't work like that. She says, yes, it does. We're going to put a pin in all of that, and we'll revisit that later. So Fatima is begging Zach not to do this here. Zach says, I don't give a F about here. And mind you, she is at work. She has literally been stuck in the elevator for well over an hour because Andy sent her to do something she didn't have no business doing in the first place. Does Andy even know Fatima is missing? Who in the hell knows? But that's my thing with Zach. Why do you always pop up to her job with all these personal issues? She is at work. She's trying to do a job. You ran to her because you were upset about what happened with Bryce. I mean, no, wait till she gets home to discuss that. You went to the job to talk about Joey. You all in the break room. You all in her office, and Andy had to get up to try to break that up. You act like you didn't want to leave then. Stop coming to her job. Oh my God, I cannot stand that. Stop coming to her job, please. Anyway, so Fatima tells Zach that he's pissing her off. He was like, oh, I'm pissing you off. I see you on your knees with this guy, and I'm pissing you off. She says, look, I'm going to tell you one more time what happened, and that's it. She tells him she took her shoes off. They were on the elevator for over an hour. See, I wouldn't even say that part because that was like way too long. I wouldn't have told him an hour. And she was like, the elevator started rumbling. It was shaking. She fell over in his arms, blah, blah, blah. He didn't give a damn, He was like, you still on that BS. Fatima was like, look, I'm done. So now Zach decides he wants to chastise Paul and ask Paul 101 questions. And Paul remained calm this entire time because any normal person would have told Zach, get the hell up out my face and don't ask me a goddamn thing. So Zach started asking all these questions, trying to put two and two together. So he's like, well, when did you meet Fatima? How long have you known her? Is that when you put the nail in the tire? Paul told him he didn't put the nail in the tire. Zach says, I don't believe you. I don't believe nothing you got to say because you got hazel eyes. You're a liar. And he was like, well, let me ask you something. I used to be in construction, though. You're in construction, so are you, do you normally park where the employees park? And Paul was like, no. So he was like, well, how you know she was fixing a tire? He said he just happened to be walking by. Zach said, oh, so you just happened to be walking by. Like, what a coinky-dinky-do. And I know Fatima felt kind of embarrassed because that was really kind of childish, talk about what a coinky-dinky-do. Like, really? So Zach was like, he probably stopped the elevator too. And they were like, really? He was like, yeah, he did. And talking about you effing liar. Paul said, oh, so I'm a liar now. He said, yeah, you are. He talks about, I caught you guys red-handed. And they're like, caught? You didn't catch nothing, Zach. Like, what are you talking about? So Paul was like, look, I just want to say, he was getting ready to say something. Zach was like, I don't want to hear S you got to say. Some kind of way Paul jammed Zach up, got one hand behind his back, all up against the elevator. And Zach was like, oh, shit. And Fatima over there screaming like, let him go, let him go. And he was like, I'm going to let him go. I just need him to calm down. And, he's trying to talk to Zach, telling him that Fatima talks good about him, which I don't know why he's telling him all of that. And so he was like, I'm going to let you go. So he lets him go. So after Paul lets him go, they kind of settle down just a little bit. Zach playing the game. Paul says, look, I'm sorry. Zach apologizes as well. Paul reintroduces himself, and so does Zach. So he goes in to shake Zach's hand, and Zach gives him the headbutt. Paul falls to the ground, and Fatima, she's screaming like, oh my God, like, Zach, and apologizing to Paul, and the elevator doors just happen to open up. Paul is screaming like, damn it, and Zach is like, I bet you didn't see that coming, trained mofo. And, he was like, let me get off this elevator before I kill somebody. So he walks off the elevator. He doesn't even say anything to Fatima, and she's looking like she runs off, I guess, behind him. I don't know. And they leave Paul on the elevator floor, nursing his little wounds. Now, although I have my good eye on Paul, still, I can respect the fact that he was very mature in the situation, and he didn't make the scene bigger than what it needed to be. He remained calm, and he didn't really react to, how Zach was acting. Zach, on the other hand, really showed us just how immature he is. Again, how jealous he is, how insecure he is, and it's kind of embarrassing. And I really would like for him to, get that in check. So the quicker he can go and start talking to somebody, the better off him and Fatima can be. So we go over to Belinda's, who we haven't seen in a month of Sundays, and she's over there talking to Angela. And apparently now Belinda has a podcast, and she does reviews on BET shows. She actually shouts out Tyler Perry's Ruthless. Shout out to all the content creators. So she finishes up and lets Angela know, look, I got to pay my bill. So I guess she's not working. She's a full-time reviewer now? I don't know. So she was like, tell me everything. So basically what it looks like is Angela got off from work and went straight over to Belinda's house so she can give her all the tea. See, that's what I'm talking about. Fatima, stop telling Angela all your business. So Angela was like, well, I can show you better than I can tell you. Before she can show her anything, Belinda said, oh, I saw that video. I already saw that. So Angela looking like, oh, you saw this? Then you already know. So Angela didn't give anything to Belinda's. It must have already been out there, or somebody had already sent it to Belinda. But the question is, who put the video out? That's the question. So and Belinda says I should put that out, like on, I guess since she has her podcast and her own channel, she probably wanted to put it on her thing, and Angela told her don't do that. And she was like, oh no, I won't do it. So they start laughing and kikiing about how Zach got hemmed all up in the elevator like a little rag doll. And immediately Belinda, of course, started talking negative about Zach. So she's saying that he ain't worth a hill of beans. And Angela was like, it's not like that. It wasn't about that. So anyway, Belinda says she wants to make a bet, and she bets that their relationship is not going to last 3 months. Angela says she's not going to bet on her friend's love, quote unquote friend, because they're not friends. And Angela says, well, that's not my friend, that's your friend, not after the way she treated me. Like, really, Belinda? Really? The way Fatima treated you? Girl, stop. So Angela calls her out on the way she tried to get at Zach, and Belinda claims she was doing it to help out. But girl, don't nobody believe that. Angela told her nobody believes that. And she said, look, I gotta go. She was meeting with Fatima for dinner. Belinda, she gets in her feelings like, what's with all these sit downs? Y'all got lunch, dinner, all this. Angela was like, look, if you wasn't, the way you were, then maybe you can be with us too. So child, she ends up leaving, and Belinda, after saying she wasn't going to put the video out, said she's going to put it out anyway. See, you can't trust Belinda. You can't trust her. So we go over there to the basketball court, and we got Nate and Tony. They're waiting on Zach to get there so they can play basketball. He's disrespecting Fatima as always. And Tony is like, man, stop disrespecting the man's woman. So Nate, he brings up how he ran into Connie and Connie told him this and that and the other. And they talk about how Zach could never resist her. Child, he's anticipating the day when when the two of them hook up. So Zach, he finally shows up and immediately, Zach's coming there to play basketball. So I don't know why the conversation was all about, oh, what's wrong with you? What's wrong with you? Oh, you got all this aggression on you. Like, what are y'all talking about? Just play ball. Oh, we can't play with you. You gonna put us in a sling. And oh, I know what's wrong. You got the blue balls. Child, just stupid conversation. Zach says, don't worry about it. I'll play by myself. Like, forget y'all. So he goes to play ball. And I guess the whole purpose of the scene was for us to see how ripped Tony done got. I don't know, because I didn't understand what the point of the scene was myself. So we get over there with Angela and Fatima. They're out having drinks. And Fatima is trying to explain what happened in the elevator. Angela is sitting there all fake and phony, pretending like she has no clue what happened when she already knows, but trying to get more information out of Fatima. She get on my nerves. I'm sick of Fatima telling her business anyway. So Fatima describes something about Zach trying to hit Paul. Angela makes all these faces like tried, like that's not what I saw type thing. And Fatima is like, what is that? What is that? What do you know? Do you know something? So when Angela, she starts to try to explain the whole video situation, and I get a little confused because at Belinda's house, I was under the impression that she was getting ready to show Belinda the video on her phone, and Belinda said, I already saw that. And now it's like Angela is explaining that there was a video circulated in the office. Mind you, Fatima works around the office as well, so why would she have already known that? And she says that Belinda asked for the video. Belinda doesn't work in the building, so how would she know there's a video circulating in the office to even ask for it? So I was confused at that. Then she tells her that she sent it to her, and she has this podcast, and she already had it pulled up on her screen. I don't remember that. I remember her saying, don't post anything about it. So she had to have it in her possession to post it. So I guess she did send it to her, but that's not how the conversation went. So I was confused. But anyway, Fatima was like, I'm sick of her shit. She wanted to go over there and talk to her. She was like, first Zach, now this. So as soon as Fatima says that she's going to go over there to check Belinda, Angela all of a sudden like, oh, don't do that. That's why I didn't want to tell you. Fatima says, well, why did you send her the video? Angela claims, oh, she didn't know Belinda was going to do that. You's a damn lie. You are a liar. You don't have hazel eyes like Paul, but you are a liar, girl. You know doggone well Belinda does not care about doing anything like that. She already told you she was going to post it, so why would you not think she would have posted? It doesn't even make sense. You were trying to be strategic because you knew that's how it can get out. You knew what you were doing. You ain't fooling me, girl. So Fatima ends up telling Angela she's too nice, and when is she going to realize that Angela is no good, when all the while Angela is just as bad as Belinda. She is sneaky. She is sneaky and conniving, and Fatima does not see that. I don't like it. And she's just playing this little innocent little role or whatever, but she is a snake. She's a snake. You gotta watch her. She sat her ass up there and pretended she did not know what happened in that elevator all the while, trying to pump more information out of Fatima. She's a snake. So Angela tries to bring up the fact that they've all been friends for a very long time, and Fatima says, look, I'm done. I'm done with her. And Angela was like, well, you don't mean that. So she tries to apologize to Fatima, saying, like, look, it's all my fault. You're right. It's my fault. I should have never sent it to her. Girl, don't nobody want to hear that fake-ass apology. Fatima was like, child, whatever. I'm not in the mood to eat anymore. So she basically left Angela sitting there. So we go back over there to the basketball court, and Zach, he's still playing ball by himself, while Tony and Nate on the fence talking about his aggression and this and that still. Apparently, Nathan texts Connie to show up to the basketball court. She gets there, and she goes to talk to Zach. he's acting all scary and childish in a way. Like every time he sees her, he gets this hard on. So I guess that day when Fatima was like, oh, you're hard now, he'll be like, have you seen you? Have you seen you in those pants? So I guess that's the same thing with Connie, because every time he sees her, he got a damn hard on. And she knows it, and she's doing all that. Let's go, let's go, let's do this. You know the vibes, you know how we do it. And Zach, he basically did stand his ground. He did tell her no, he can't do it, maybe in another lifetime, Erica Badu type thing. And she's still like, well, what's different now? Like any other time with all the other girls, you knew what time it was. Like he said, yeah, any other time, but not today. So he stood his ground. I just wish he would be a little more mature about it. Basically, say what you mean and mean what you say. Like, stand in it. Like, be a little more aggressive with it. Not be sitting there stammering and stuttering and acting like you scared and like he does the same thing with Deja. It gets on my nerves. Like, come on, man. Do what you did with Valerie, the real estate lady. She was flirting with him. He ain't having a problem with her. He told her, I love my fiance, this and that. He saw that she was flirting, and it was nothing. There was no kind of hard on. There was nothing going on. So Zach is able to do that. So I don't know if it's certain women that triggers him to where he has to do that. I don't know. But he needs to really put his foot down. He did, he did a little okay right here, but I need him to be a little more aggressive with it. And I guess, now he's trying to hide his erection. You got the Ren and Stimpy over there on the fence, teasing him, talking about give me the ball, because he's trying to cover up the erection with the ball. And he telling them F them, because he knows that Nate put Connie up to coming out there. And before he walked off from Connie was like, oh, I'm coming over there. And I'm like, girl, where you coming at? Because you should not even know where Zach lives at. Zach just moved there. So if Nate tells her where Zach lives, that's going to be a problem. That's a big issue. And he was like, still bye Connie and all that. I'm like, bye Connie. So, Connie's going to be a problem, I see. So we'll see. She's still yelling, I'll be over there. I'm like, Make sure you keep that same energy when Fatima opened the door. So Fatima gets a phone call from her mom, and her mom was like, I haven't heard from you. Are you okay? What is it, Zach? Fatima like, what? She said, well, you said you was dating somebody new. Is it getting serious? I want to plan a dinner. I want you to bring them over there. Fatima, she agreed to do all of that. So her mom was like, well, what's the matter? What's wrong with you? She said, I just had a long day. So the mom says, well, do you mind telling me why you haven't been home in 3 weeks? Meaning her townhouse she had. And Fatima looking crazy, like, what are you talking about? She said, I sent you a special care package, and it keeps getting returned back to me. And Fatima looking like, oh, Lord. And she said, I talked to the landlord, and he gave me your forwarding address information. And she said, are you living with Zach? Fatima stumbling like, oh, Lord. She like, Mom, I got to call you back. I'll call you back. And the mom like, okay. But all the while, you could tell the mom, she in the car driving, so you already know she probably done got that address, and we already know where she headed. So we get to Zach's house, and Deja, she's sitting in her car hollering and screaming for help. Of course, here comes Zach to the rescue. He's like, man, Deja, you full of crap. Like, what's wrong with you? Like, what are you doing? And he's like, what, you trying to hustle me? Like, you can't hustle a hustler. Like, what's up? What you trying to do? She's like, I'm not trying to do nothing, blah, blah, blah. He's like, what? You got the rent? She was like, look, the rent ain't due. He's like, what's this, a little scam so you don't have to pay the rent? And she was like, no. So she went to telling him something about some dude that was, giving her the business, and he he ended up dropping her or doing something with his weak ass. So anyway, he ends up helping her out the car, lifting her up, talking about, ooh, you thick. And she talking about, ooh, you strong. Just touch my booty. You can do it. I'm like, see, this is what I'm talking about with Zach. All you had to do was get out your car and go in the house. That's all you had to do. But no, you got to be Mr. Rescue and go through all this crazy crap. She putting her legs all across his neck and all, just doing all kind of crazy stuff. Then a car pulls up. while he has her in his arms, and they looking like, who is that? They like, I don't know. So Deja takes it upon herself to say, may I help you? And Fatima's mom comes around and says, yes, I'm Mona Wilson. She says, are you Zach? He says, yes. Who are you? She says, I'm Fatima's mom. And he drops Deja like a hot potato. She on the ground, you drop me, mofo, blah, blah, blah. She cursing and screaming, and he like, oh. I'm like, see, that's what your ass get. That is what you get. You should have took your ass in the house. But I want to reference back to the elevator scene when Zach told Fatima he didn't care about hearing her explanation because he know what his eyes was telling him. So that's all that mattered to him. Now that her mom is seeing him for the very first time, this is what she's seeing. So is she not to listen to what his explanation is and just go by what she's seeing? Because it's the same thing. You could probably try to explain it, but really, you really have no business having Deja in your arms in the first place. Like, there's nothing wrong with Deja. There is absolutely nothing wrong with her. And, you know, it is what it is, but it's the same thing. Her mom is going to feel a certain way about you because of what she sees. And you could say what you want to say. She's probably going to feel the same way that you felt when you saw Fatima in the elevator with Paul. It's the same thing. But anyway, that's where the episode ends. So what did you guys think of episode 4 with all these trifling, messy friends? Drop down below and let me know your thoughts. As always, thanks for watching, thanks for listening, and I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.